Good evening. This Fan's View is live, and we got a special guy in the house tonight. Shawnee, thanks for jumping on with us tonight.
Thanks. I appreciate it. I appreciate the invite. Look
Absolutely. I kind of was second guessing myself. I think you might know a little bit more about sports than all of us, and I don't want you to make us look too bad.
Don't put me on the spot like that. I don't know about that.
We're all about having fun, and we welcome you to the show. I know you've done a few spots with us on the streets of Clearwater, in the bars of Buffalo Wild Wings, but now you're in your home studio, so you can relax.
Got it. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Mario's got the night off. I'm not quite sure what's going on in the operating room, but he was asked to go in. So hopefully everything's okay, and another patient survives. So all is good. All is good. So May 12th, this Fan's View. We got a lot going on. We are busy.
Got some breaking news too.
We got breaking news. We'll get to that in a little bit. John, why don't you take over who wore it best, and we'll get that clutter out of the way early, because those are some bad numbers.
All right. We knew it was going to get a little slim pickings at times, but we got number 67, Jamal Jackson was the winner for 67. He beat out Jose Perella and Bob Kuchenberg and Kirill Yastrzemski. And then for number 68, Anthony, you're going to like this. Jaromir Jagr was the winner.
Wow.
He has a flyer, of course. Beating out Dennis Harrison and Will Shields. So that was a little bit of a landslide. I was surprised about that. I thought Harrison was going to give a little bit of a competition.
Yeah, come on.
But
seriously.
But yeah,
Dennis who?
Harrison. That, and then so for tonight we got 69. It's a little bit of a slow number. For the Eagles, we got Jon Runyan, played from 2000 to 2008, Pro Bowler in 2002, and he was a All-Pro in '99, member of the 75th anniversary team for the Eagles. Started 192 games. And he was a member of the 2004 NFC Championship team. For the outsider, we've got Jared Allen, who's a 5-time Pro Bowler, a 4-time first-team All-Pro, a 2-time NFL sacks leader, a member of the 100 Sack Club, and one of the 50th greatest Vikings. So, Sean, you're a new guest here. We'll start off with you. What do you got?
Jon Runyan, hands down. I still remember his battles with Michael Strahan. They were
yes. Yes. All right, Lauren, who do you have?
Obviously, Jon Runyan. I would also like to add that there would be very few people, even if others had worn this number, Phillies, Flyers, Sixers. That's a hard number to compete against. I think Jon would win outright regardless, just because there's very few other players that I think could go kind of up against him.
Yes, I agree. I agree with you. Anthony?
Yeah, I'll do the same. That's the name you think when you see that number. So.
Oh yeah. Carl?
I'll go John Runyan. He was a guest at Carl's Cards.
Yes, he was. Sitting right at this table.
The other store.
The other store.
Prior to the leaving for the 05 Super Bowl. So yeah, I'll go Jon Runyan.
We got a clean sweep then.
Yeah.
We got a clean sweep. That one was pretty obvious.
Yeah.
And then for number 70, we got for the Phillies, Luis Avalon. He played 12 games in 2019. He went 5 2/3 innings. He had a 3.18 ERA with 5 strikeouts and 4 walks.
You sure about that?
I'm sure about that. For the Eagles, we got Al Wistert. You said the
Ox.
The Ox. He was a member of the 43 Steagles team, the Steelers and Eagles. They played from 44 to 51. He was a two-time NFL champion in 48 and 49. He was a Pro Bowler in 1950. He was an all-decade 1940s all-decade NFL team. His Eagles number is retired with the Eagles and an Eagles Hall of Famer. He's also a college football Hall of Famer. And for the Flyers, we have Danik Martel. Played 4 games. Was a -1. He was a left winger in 2017 and 18.
Where is he today?
He only played 9 more games in the league after that, and he's gone.
Now he's selling insurance.
He's selling, hopefully. Maybe he's a high school coach.
Okay.
And then for the outsider, we have Sam Huff. He was a member of the Giants and Redskins. Sam Huff.
Normally heard of the outsiders up until now, but this one breaks the streak.
Yeah, Sam's a pretty good ball player.
Yeah, but then 1956 NFL champion, a 5-time Pro Bowler, a 2-time first-team All-Pro, member of the 1950 All-Decade team, and he's also a member of a two-time Ring of Honor team for the Giants and Redskins, and the Pro Football Hall of Fame and the College Football Hall of Fame. So, Shawnee, who do you have?
I'm gonna go with Big Al with those
There you go.
credentials and those numbers. Yeah, I'm gonna go with him.
Yeah, we have a little bit of an Eagles run coming, I think, with our numbers coming up going forward. Lauren?
Al Wister, definitely. And I was showing Anthony a photo of when we had him in the store, and he is the cutest old man. He gets my vote just for that.
The fact that you were able to find that quickly is amazing, too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anthony?
I think I'm going to do the same because I've literally heard of none of these people. So I'm going to go.
All right. Well, those 4 games for Danik Martel didn't impress you?
No. I know I do that.
All right. Carl?
I'm going with Big Al for a number of reasons, but the biggest is
It's
he
a cool
was
story.
what's that? Cool story? Yeah, very cool. So he was flying in from Oregon. It was induction weekend for the Eagles, and he was coming in on a Friday night, and he was going to do a signing at the store on Saturday, all prearranged. Well, the flight somewhat got canceled, and so he slept in the airport in Oregon. Just slept in the airport, him and his traveling partner, and decided to forego the lunch with the Eagles and came right here to Carl's Cards to do the signing. And just was, like Lauren said, just the cutest little bugger. I mean, he was just so awesome and just all about whatever he could do to make things right. And man, I wish he were around today because he'd be a showstopper. So Big Al, the Ox, and his brother also played on that. I don't know if that both championship teams, but his brother was also on the team. So yeah, great old timer. But most of them old timers were. You know what I mean? You just don't build them like that anymore.
No. So what was it, like 70, 75 years old when he was sleeping in the airport?
Absolutely. Yeah.
By the age, the years here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just an awesome guy. And it's a shame Jerry Nalen from Connecticut became really good friends with him.
Oh, nice.
And I wish Jerry jumps on the show every once in a while. He's not on because he's got some great stories of the Ox.
Right.
Yeah, because he got to be pretty friendly with him over the years. But so make it a clean sweep, please.
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
I didn't want you going off with
Luis Avalon?
Yeah. And those 4 innings of fame.
Well, there was 5 2/3. but of course, no. I mean, look at those numbers. I mean, 2-time NFL champion. You got to go there. His numbers retired by the Eagles.
Yep.
Yeah.
Number 70, folks.
Yep.
Number 70.
Nobody else other right there.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Before we do some hand out some prizes, I see Brian Brown has jumped on, and I had noticed that he had kind of disappeared from social media for a while. So I'm glad he's back on board with us tonight. I'm not glad to hear about the whole COVID thing, but
Right.
hopefully all the nurses and doctors are taking good care of you, and you're on the road to recovery. So good to see you back on board with us tonight, and we won't pick on you tonight. We'll give you a free pass.
Oh, man.
Yeah, poor guy's been through hell and back. I can only imagine. So he gets a free pass tonight.
There you go. We'll let him go this week.
Yeah, there you go.
He even says thanks.
Absolutely. See, he knows we don't just give these things out.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Hey, so speaking of giving things out, great segue, right?
Yep.
So we have a winner to announce for last week's Bernie Perrant prize. We did the fancy what's it called? Randomizer earlier. We didn't want to take up too much time. And the winner of the Bernie Perrant autograph puck is John Pybus from, I believe he's now in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if anybody can see that, but there's the autograph puck. And John, if you're not on the show tonight, then we'll take it back.
That's right.
See, you got to be on.
You got to at least comment and let us know how you guys are going to do it.
Yeah, so there you go. So there's the winner of that prize, and we'll. I guess we could start dissecting the Phillies.
Well, we also got from Carlos Cards also donating. We got the prize for Larry Bowa this week as well. So
yep,
we got that to
yep. We're giving away a 8x10 autograph Larry Bowa photo. Larry will be in the store on Saturday, but we can talk more about that later. Let's jump into the Phillies.
Yes.
Sean, let's throw this softball at you.
Okay.
How come they're so horrible on the road? Well, what's the deal?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's specifically just being on the road, but I think, consistency in playing. Putting the ball in play. I'm still not convinced with the outfield play. With center field, and I guess I'm looking for a little bit more consistency with the lineup. I think it's a little too early for, guys getting days off and whatnot. When you get into especially when you get into a rhythm, I think they got won 4 straight games, and you turn around, you want to sit people down. So I think you got to establish that rhythm of consistency with your with your 8 players. With the exception of your catcher, who's going to need a day off here and there, especially after night games. So I don't know if it's one particular thing, but inconsistency with the offense and the bullpen still, it's kind of concerning to me. I'm not a huge Hector Neris fan for the closer role, and even last night with a 4-run lead, Washington had their stopper warming up during that inning, thinking that they could jump back into that game. And when you got to throw 30 plus pitches to close out a game, it's a little eye-opening.
So I guess we won't see him tonight, huh?
Probably not. He doesn't do back-to-backs, right? He don't pitch any of his relievers back-to-back, and I don't understand that either. But he's got his way of style managing. It's a little different. So,
right. Well, the inconsistency on the road has been difficult to handle as a fan. So Sue is jumping on board, and with her usual self, there's a lot of background noise. So are you guys hearing a lot of background noise?
I do hear a little bit of feedback. Yeah.
yeah, I do.
Okay. I'm not quite sure where that's.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe just try to close yours off for a second. Just leave the studio. But yeah, I mean, it's a little tough. The Bradley injury is definitely hurting us. And then him not being there to taking up some spots. So until we get that figured out, like you said, the center field issue is an issue as well. But Odubel's starting to come around. He's starting to hit. So we'll see. So he can stay hot. And then the lineup itself is kind of up and down. You know, it's no, we haven't hit yet altogether at one time. So
that's been another problem with inconsistency.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know, they seem to get the job done at home. You know what I mean? And you know, you just I don't know.
You got to just play 500 on the road.
Right.
You
Exactly.
know, and yeah, you're not expecting them to play as good as you do it at home, but
So I guess the biggest issue, you know, that we're having, you know, are pretty much the same problems that we've been having. You know what I mean? You know, we get the hitting, and then the bullpen, you know, drags us down, and then the defense drags us down, and you know, we have those same issues again. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but Joe seems to be, I don't know, what's the right word? Is he over managing? Is he trying to do too much? He just seems like in some instances, you know, just leave it alone.
right.
You know what I mean? I'm not 100%, but you know, maybe there's a reason, and you know, he's the manager. He's getting paid the big money to make these decisions. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
The inconsistency, that's what has me.
I don't know if that's just a Joe thing. I feel like that's a lot of managers now. I mean,
Right.
I don't know if it's a Phillies thing. I mean, at our level, there was, you know, a pitching change every couple innings, and you know, it's just I don't know if that's a Philly system itself or if that's just the way the world of baseball is now. But you know, to see a guy even go through when you see a complete game no hitter, or to see someone pitch a complete game, it even seems rare these days. So I don't know if that's just the way that things are going. I don't know if I don't necessarily think that's just a Joe thing. I think that's just the way it's going.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a baseball thing itself, because you see it everywhere. You know, and it's just it's a lot of the analytics, you know, and for us that have watched the games for a long time, it's kind of hard to understand it a little bit. And maybe we'll get a little insight on Saturday afternoon when Larry Bowa is sitting here, how he feels.
Yeah, I got a funny feeling Larry might not hold back, huh?
No.
Well, it makes you know that the tough part is they're trying to do that to get guys in and not hurt them and do things like that. But I think there's something to be said about consistency. Taking guys in, taking guys out, it probably doesn't help you at all. It makes the game, we've seen in Reading, I mean, it makes the game go a little longer. I mean, over our first week, the games were 3 hours on average. I mean, 3.5 some nights. I mean, there's just pitching changes a lot. And by doing that, yeah, it gets more guys in, which is nice, but it doesn't let anyone, you know, get into a groove sometimes. And it also just happens to make the game go a little longer. And a game that's trying to sort of balance where they could be with the traditionalists to the young kids, it's going to be an issue because, yeah, young people want to see different players coming in, but at the same time, they don't have 3 to 4 hours to sit there to watch a game because an NBA game sure doesn't take that long. So, yeah, I think there's just a lot of things that they're trying to figure out right now and seeing what works.
Yeah, like you said, they're trying to speed the game up and all these little moves, even like 3 batter rules.
Yeah.
You know, it's taking a lot of longer time too, because you know you're getting a lot of pitches through a game. Guys can't throw strikes anymore because they're nibbling, trying, you know, inconsistency with the umpires a little bit with strike zones.
That's a whole nother show.
Well, that's a whole nother show.
Yeah.
Wow.
But you know, it's just crazy. You know, and then instant replay and stuff. So yeah, they're trying to make the game faster, but yet what they're doing is making it slower.
Sometimes when they start in those extra innings, I know, Yeah, at our level, when they started out, having a guy at second base, all you need to do is get a hit, and that's a run. So, I don't know that makes it go any quicker either.
Right.
That seems like it's just it's 6-6 and it's 7-7, and it never ends. So, I know they're trying to figure it out. I don't know what the answer is, though.
No, it's good stuff. You just got to get back to playing regular baseball.
Anthony, in regards to like the speed up, are they experimenting with that pitch clock in AA?
Yeah, that pitch clock sort of started with us, and I think as it continued, I think some of the umps are a little bit more lenient than other umps. I mean, you're supposed to call it an automatic ball if the pitcher takes too long or whatever it is, and I haven't seen that too much. But yeah, all that experimental stuff starts with us, and even more so than that, because the teams that used to be known as independent league teams that do have sort of a light affiliation with Major League Baseball now, they can sort of try out a lot of stuff with them. So like the teams in like the Atlantic League or these other leagues, they've changed base sizes and had like a robot umpires, and they're trying all these different things. Some of that stuff may never actually happen in the major leagues. The Players Association might not let it happen, but they're going to continue trying to experiment with it. But I don't know. My personal feeling is that if you market it in a way that embraces the sort of slowness of it, instead of making it be fast like football or basketball, then I think they'd be in a better situation. It is different than all the other ones. There is no clock. The fun part about it is going to a game and having a drink with your friends and having a conversation. That's the whole fun of it. They're trying to compete with basketball, and they never will that way. They didn't make their own, niche that's different from that.
I agree. Yeah.
All right. Well, before the night gets away from us, we got to talk a little football. The schedule's out. We've got 17 games this year. I don't know what you guys think. I really haven't had a chance to go over wins and losses. But have you guys had a chance to take a look at the schedule? Anything jump out at you? Any road trips that you guys might want to venture out to see?
Well, the obvious one that jumps right out is the Las Vegas Raiders game.
There you go.
That one's going to be a popular weekend. Coming off the bye, so that'll be helpful. Denver's not a bad one either. Denver's kind of nice, but
Eagles fans do travel well,
right? But it seems like all the good teams are coming to us this year. That we want to see. So that's a good thing.
You can travel to New York for a nice November game. That'll be nice and warm.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, back-to-back games, the Giants and the Jets, back-to-back weekends there.
Yeah,
exactly. Right before the bye, it's a late bye this year, which is a little odd. Because usually they save the, it's not. We got two primetime games too, a Monday night and a Thursday night, with the Cowboys and then the Buccaneers coming here to the link.
So John, I mean, how do you think? Obviously it's way far away, but how do you think that the division looks as far as the Eagles are going to have a little bit of a tough year we talked about, but
right.
I mean, what do you think is the biggest competition in that division? Because we always think it might be the Cowboys, and they never seem to do it, and Washington's been back and forth. I mean, what do you think happens?
I think Washington is going to be a sneaky team with Fitzpatrick as their quarterback this year. And their defense is pretty solid. Ron Rivera is a very good coach as well. You'll have them there. You'll still always have to worry about the Cowboys, unfortunately, because they have if Dak comes back healthy, that's a potent offense that they have if they get everything on par, and then they just loaded up with in the draft all defensive players. Which was their weakness last year. They would score 40 points but give up 48. So they would lose every week. It's it's going to be tough, like you said, and just looking at that schedule, it could start off ugly. I still think it's only going to be at most 6 wins. Myself, I mean,
I got 8 wins.
All right.
Yeah, I did 8 and 9.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll break wins and losses down another time because the schedule's just out. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting because you got a whole new coaching staff.
Right.
You got so many new players on offense.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be interesting to watch this squad develop.
Right. Well,
like
we were talking earlier. Like you said, there's no film, so that's going to be huge.
Nothing.
And then the other thing too is the schedule kind of works out nicely for us because the last 8 weeks of the year we're at home. There's no not at home, but there's no flights that we have to take. So it's all bus trips to local teams and 9 out of 10 weeks you're that way. With one trip out to Denver. So that's a huge break for the Eagles. For health wise, for guys recovering. So that could help out. Which
we shall see. Anybody have any chance to any game jump out at you that you might have had earlier at a loss that maybe you swing over to the W column? I have not had a chance to pull it all apart. The divisional games are always interesting to me,
right?
Because I just think that's where you have a chance for an upset here or an upset there.
And 5 of the last 6, are divisional games. So
right, and a lot of teams are either in or out by that time.
Yeah, so it could be good for us that we can sneak and win the division because of that.
Yeah,
or it could be bad for us, as well.
Yep. Yeah, we'll definitely save this for another night. Break it all down. See what everyone's thinking. We'll get wins and losses and predictions, and everybody's saying all the right stuff right now.
Right. Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? They're interviewing all the rookies.
So Washington's going to go another year without having a name, huh?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, at this point, they might as well just keep that name. I mean, I don't understand. Like,
they may.
Plenty of time to think about it over the last 20 years. I mean, what is taking so long?
Yeah. Well, I think a couple of their names that they did like or were thinking about, somebody copyrighted them before them, before it happened. So they weren't able to do it, which is kind of strange. But no, it's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be an interesting season this year. That's for sure. Because it's all new.
It's all new.
And it's all going to come back to how Jalen Hurts does. How he can step up and do. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Hey, before we jump into another really interesting Philly team, I want to throw it to Lauren for a couple of minutes because I think you guys are getting pretty close to opening up that new building, right?
We are, yeah. June 1st is sort of our soft opening. So we'll start to see some clients, bring in some animals to the shelter. But then we have our big grand opening scheduled for Saturday, June 26th.
Okay.
Very cool.
Very cool. Very, very cool. And we here at Carl's Cards are doing a raffle of a pretty cool Dr. J autographed jersey framed. We're selling raffle tickets. We're about a third of the way through on that. And a good chunk of that money's, going to be given to Humane Pennsylvania, which we seriously partner with, and you guys do a phenomenal job with out there in Berks and Lancaster County. So, don't sell what you guys do short for the community. You guys do great work, and it's awesome to partner up with you guys as well with the Reading Fighting Phils. I was out there this weekend. I was out there. I'm still cold. I'm still wet. You know, it was rainy and chilly, but that I won't hold that against you. The beer was cold, so.
Well, you know what? It seems to be. It's been 2 years since we had a game, and as soon as we come back, they know when to rain because this week has been beautiful, and it rained all weekend for Mother's Day. Now, I think we did exceed the expectations on a lot of those days because I think people were just so excited to get out. We had a really nice opening day, which was beautiful weather, and it'll be nice. We'll be able to sort of after Memorial Day be able to be at 100%, and so you know. It'll be fun, just a lot of work to do to kind of get there because, you know, you have a lot of organizations that you used to work with that you have to make sure are still able to do it. So even though it's 100%, it's like, you know, you got to make sure that you can get people to 100%. So it's fun. It's a lot. It'll be a lot of work, but we're happy to be back.
Very cool. And the team's out on the road now for what, the next 7-8 days?
Yeah, I don't think we're home until 13 days from now, a week from yesterday.
Okay. All right.
I think that's the longest time of the year that they're gone. Most of the homestands are Tuesday through Sunday, and you know, they're home away. We have a couple home in a row, but I think this is the one that you know, it's a little time away, which I don't mind. Early in the season to get away for a while. You come back at the end of May, it's a little bit warmer, and you can get right into the summer months. So.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's going well. The team's all right. I mean, struggled a little bit so far in some of their games early on in the homestand. That with pitching, the pitching was supposed to be their top asset, and you know, they struggled a little bit. But a lot of those guys have never pitched in the north before. They never pitched in cold weather. You got to give them a couple homestands before they get that under their belt. But they're doing fine.
Okay. Yeah, that was majority of them came from where?
They were Clearwater
Clearwater
Yeah,
last year. So, yeah.
Other than maybe 2 or 3 guys, I think like Jacob Hernandez and Jonathan Hennigan and maybe Gamboa, all the other guys, you know, I hadn't followed Clearwater very well. So all these guys are brand new and they're relatively young. So, you know, I think they'll be okay as the year goes on. It's just, you know, the first time being someplace new and starting back up is a little rough, but I think they'll be okay as the year goes on.
All right. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Shawnee, you been out there?
Where, to Reading?
Yes.
Yeah, last year I was out there a couple times.
Okay.
Great
All
place.
right.
Yeah, it's a great place to watch games, and yeah, I'm
Okay.
gonna hopefully get out there quite a bit this year. So I enjoyed up there. Good
All right, well,
atmosphere. So
We got a couple of dates that you might want to keep on your calendar.
yeah, we've got now that you're officially part of the show, and did I mention that you're officially part of the show?
well, if you want me full time, you got to let me know because I got a lot of other offers, especially at Wednesday night shows and throughout the week. So you know, I gotta balance my time. So you got to let me know.
That's good to hear. That's
Playing
good.
hardball with
That's good to hear. I'll get the check in the mail.
Got it.
He gets paid?
News to us.
Where's my check?
It's all those Friday night. It's all those Friday nights at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
guess it's with mine, Lauren. It's with mine.
Are you guys done crying? You want me to get a box of tissues or what? What's the story?
Just shocked.
Shocked, huh?
Just shocked.
Just shocked. Hey, so Dagwoods is coming up June
Yes.
16th.
Yes.
June 16th, we're back on the road at Dagwoods. I know Shawnee loves that spot. I've watched them
Great
put down
spot.
a few plates of where were they? Oysters,
Mussels.
mussels. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Good food, good entertainment.
Rick Lozinski this week or this year.
We got the bull. We got the bull coming in for June 16th. We're also booked for July and August. So we're looking for really good things up there. We're still working on a Delco location. So come check us out June 16th up at Dagwoods. We're looking to get back on the road.
Yeah.
So speaking about getting back on the road, I believe our Flyers have cleaned out their lockers and are probably setting up tee times.
Yeah. It doesn't sound like they're going back to Florida or Canada. if you listen to the press conference, because the Canadian guys, they want to be able to keep around here because they were struggling this year, not being able to practice, which is a little bit odd.
I wasn't a fan of the exit excuses from the GM and the coach. I wasn't a big fan of all that was laid out. Blaming. I took it as blame with a lot of the young players not having enough practice time, the Canadian players not being able to practice, not being able to do this and that. I just, the excuses kind of just made my blood, just run cold.
Right.
I just was not happy about it.
Jack doesn't think they'll be playing golf because they can't hit the net, so they won't hit the green.
Jack's been waiting for this segment for a little over a half hour.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? He's
bottled up.
He's just ready to blow this thing up, and I don't think it's going to happen.
Not from the sounds of that press conference.
No,
That's my question. Is that an excuse to keep these guys around and give them another chance because they had an underperforming year, or is that just to get them out of the day and figure it out in the offseason? Like, are they going to make some moves, or what are they going to do?
It doesn't look like it. It looks like they're going to pretty much go. I mean, obviously you're going to lose only one player because of the expansion draft with the Krakens in Seattle there. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I don't think they're going to do much. I don't know that they really can do a whole lot. That's part of the problem too. So it's kind of they don't want to make it look as bad maybe that they can't really do anything. So they're just going to say everything's hunky dory and go with it.
I'm not here to hand out free passes. They had a horrible year. The rest of these teams played under the same conditions. You know what I mean? They played horrible. They did not even come close to expectations. The veteran leadership I thought was extremely poor. And I, as much as I love Carter Hart, I want to know what the hell happened to Carter Hart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, he sure didn't get the defensive help that he needed. That's one. That's not an excuse, but I don't know how you fix the energy problem. The talent is obviously there because once they get some energy, you see them shooting and making goals. And the problem is it happens in the last 2 minutes of a game. How do you and maybe that's leadership, or maybe that is the captain. Maybe you make a big statement move like that to say, listen, let's get rid of someone like that. He's the guy that's supposed to be, if not the coach, him bringing that energy to the younger guys. But is the problem you have too many guys are a little bit older maybe, and they just don't have that push? I don't know what the answer is, but that energy you can't replicate. You have to have it in you, or you don't, and they don't seem to have it as a team.
Yeah, if you listen to AV speaking on yesterday in the exit meeting, it was kind of they have a small amount of veteran guys and not enough of the middle group, and a lot of young guys. So maybe until those young guys mature, I don't know.
Yeah, Jack has brought up some interesting points throughout the year with the Flyers. With a lot of the guys, just play the same.
Right.
They have the same type of players. Travis Konechny disappeared this year.
Mm-hmm.
That name jumps out at me. Shane Gostisbehere been in and out of the doghouse the whole season.
True.
Those are the questions. You talk about a soft media presence. I didn't hear any of those questions asked about particular players, and I thought there was an opportunity there.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I want to call anybody out, but I mean, there was a reason why you cleaned out your locker and you're heading home.
Right.
You know what I mean? And this shouldn't have been. You paid a lot of money for Kevin Hayes, and he's supposed to be the coach's choice. And here he is 2-3 games left in the season, and he gets put on the bench. You know what I mean? And just not a good look. just not a good look as far as I'm concerned.
No, it's true.
Well, you don't have to call out players as a media. I mean, you can as a media person. It seems like the media is a little soft on the Flyers in general compared to the other teams, but I don't understand why they can't say, "Hey guys, the year's over with," or even before you got to the year's over with. You know, it looked like the first period your energy wasn't there. You know, that's not calling out anyone. That's calling out the whole team. That doesn't really seem to happen too much. Or if it does, there's always like, you know, some type of excuse. Well, we got to get it together. We got to play better. I know we have the talent. It's all, you know, it's all generic answers.
Right.
Mhm.
And taking accountability for, you know what, it's my, if you're asking me, it's my fault. I should have had more energy out there and I can work better at that. You know, it just seems like passing the buck in general, and just, they were limping into the offseason anyway, and they were just wanted it to be over with.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right there. I don't know. Is Tocchet the answer? Rick Tocchet was let go by Phoenix after, I believe it was 4 years out there. I know he's a Philly name that everybody loves, but
Right.
you know, I mean, does that get it done? Is, you know, would he be a coach that could come in here and you know, start pointing fingers and direct, you know, a lot of these guys, you know, I don't know. I know they played a different style back in his day.
Right.
You know, you'd have a teammate calling you out, like, you know, what the hell are you doing? You know what I mean? But I don't know. I don't know if Tocchet would be the right guy. It would be extremely difficult for him to come back to Philly and coach.
Yeah, I would think so as well. And where are you going to go back into that old? We're doing the same old with the Flyers too. Going, you know, old ways again, getting to him again. I don't know
Right.
if that would be the good choice. I mean, you know, we went out on the limit and, you know, got AV
Well,
come here as well out of the box. And anyway, he had a good year last year, so we thought, you know, with the young guys, and something happened this year with less practice or whatever you want to call it. And
yeah, they had the excuse book wide open.
right.
You know, they pulled out everything.
Oh yeah.
You know, not enough practice time.
And they lost a lot of.
We lose Shawnee.
Nope.
Shawnee, you there?
Got grandma's there.
You got to put a couple quarters in, Shawnee. We can't hear you.
But yeah, I don't know. You got to figure it out.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
tough.
It is, because they have some nice young players, and I think we saw some energy from a lot of them. But you know, a Nolan Patrick, you know, who's had some injuries, you know, he really didn't. You know, he didn't
Take that step.
You know, he didn't take that next step. I know we're all big Oscar, you know, Lundblom fans. You know, and you know, in my heart, you know, he'll get a free pass this year, you know, based on, you know, what he went through. But, you know, I need other players to step up. And if it means the captain calling out, you know, a certain individual, you know, just way too many slow starts.
Right.
Way too many slow starts. You leave your goalie to just you leave him out there.
Oh yeah.
He's out there on an island by himself, and you know how many games? 3-0, 4-0, first 10 minutes of the game.
Yep, Anthony says that every time he turns it on. He comes home a little bit late there, and boom, he turns it on, and they're down.
I just think there's no accountability at any level. You know, it's just, you know, people blame the coach, but then you hear the general manager, and he sounds the same too. Like, how about a plan? What is the plan? Okay, I'm very disappointed. This comes back to me. This is my job. I'm going to fix it going forward. Do what we need to do. Like, I'm not a general manager, and I don't know how to make that statement. I don't understand what the problem is. You know, I know he says we're going to.
But they lost I mean, some of the games this year, they just brutally lost these games. I mean, they were getting. Am I there?
Yep, you're there.
Yeah, I'm here.
He's just coming.
Yeah, your volume's jumping in and out, Shawnee.
I see you guys.
Can you hear us?
Just jump back in from the other side.
You gotta get a pocket full of quarters because you got to
You
throw.
hear it now?
Yeah, there you go. In and out.
Yeah.
In and out.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, it's tough. It's tough. You got to be able to figure out a way to get those games started because I mean, you see that way to finish. So if they could get even a half decent start in most of those games, it's a different story. And like we said, we don't want to give them too much of a pass with the COVID, but they did finish over 500, as a season, and we said how bad they were this last month and a half, 2 months. Just goes to show how good they were prior to.
They had a fast start.
Which,
they had a fast start, no
you know,
doubt.
which
No doubt.
could be, like you said, just a fast start, and then they leveled off. But it's one of those things you just gotta.
Well, what do you think? I'll throw 3 areas at you. You tell me what their biggest needs are. Top defenseman to go with Prove.
Absolutely.
Because I'm still belly aching about losing Nishkinen, Matt Nishkinen at the start of the season. So you need a top defenseman, a stay-at-home defenseman. You need scoring. You need scoring really bad.
Yes.
You need, and I'm talking top line scoring. I'm not talking third or fourth line because you just gave Michael Raffle away.
Right.
And he won the game last night for Washington. So don't get me started.
Right.
And what do you do? What do you do in goal? Or do we have a goalie controversy again? Brian Elliott's probably going to go find a new team to play for. You know what I mean? Is Carter Hart going to be our goalie of the future? Do we have an issue here? There are three big categories.
It is 3 big categories. I just don't know. I agree with your top 2. I'm maybe I just want to be naive about it and hope that Carter Hart's the guy and we don't have a problem and hopefully Elliott will be able to come back. If he's going to play. I mean, it kind of seemed like maybe he was retiring. I don't know. Like, with his family being out there and everything, or it was just the Flyers, send off to him that they knew that they were going to be parting ways.
Right.
One or the other, I don't know, because they were saying he might be a guy that might get picked up by the Krakens.
He's a solid veteran. You know what I mean? And, I thought he did a good job under the circumstances. You know what I mean? But I saw frustration setting with Carter Hart and it just never got back to the level where, this is the Carter Hart that we saw play coming up. You know what I mean? Jack brings up, an interesting, toughness. You're talking about a Chris Pronger. You're talking about, a Yager that we mentioned earlier that we brought in. Peter Forsberg, right? I mean, these are guys that we brought in for leadership qualities. And that's something that we're still talking about.
Right.
Anthony?
I was just going to say, just to sort of finish up with the Flyers, I think what Jack said is 100% accurate. I mean, the Rangers finished better. They cleaned house. I'm not saying that you have to clean house, but you at least have to have some sort of direction other than we're going to be fine.
Right.
I mean, if you're, from a front office employee going into an off season like this, that doesn't make it easy to sell tickets or to sell sponsorships when you got teams like the Sixers or the Phillies doing much better in that realm. So all those things are competition. And as a fan, sometimes, at least if you're losing and it looks like you're doing it to turn around to get better is one thing. If you're winning is one thing. But when you're stuck in that sort of malaise that the Flyers are in, that just doesn't make people that interested. So they need to do something. They can't go into the off season here and going into next year and make some minor moves here or there. I think they need to make 1 or 2 big statements so that they show that they're interested in winning.
Yeah. Talk about a statement move. Lauren, let's talk 76ers. I know this is your team. This is your baby. What are you thinking? What are your thoughts as we wind down the season and head into the playoffs?
I mean, I think just what we've kind of been saying all year long is that, as long as the guys can stay healthy and we can get that starting five out there when the playoffs hit, we can make a serious run at this. I still am a little hesitant that this is the year. I'm not sure that it is the year. I hope I'm wrong. I hope, we rewind back to this show and remember this moment. I'm concerned about when it's not the starting five, when Joel Embiid's not out there.
Right.
They seem to be almost as inconsistent as the Phillies. So last night, he doesn't play and they don't seem to do too well. But yet other times before that, when he was out and injured for those 2 weeks, they, almost acted like they had something to prove without him. So it's just a matter of getting the team ready to go regardless of who's out on the court. So I'm excited, but I'm also a little bit apprehensive. But I think part of that is just, has the process finally come to fruition? Are we finally here? We've been trusting in it for so long. And it's almost a little hard to believe that this might actually be it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like I think it's part of like last night. I think was part of the schedule, just the way that the NBA is at the end. They know that they're basically going to be the number one seed. They just got to win one of the next 3 games. 4 games. Going into yesterday, so they took a time to rest everybody up. I don't know. I just think, like you said, if they're healthy going into the playoffs, I don't think there's going to be anybody, at least in the East, that's going to beat them 4 times out of 7 in a series. And then the West Coast, they might beat themselves all up out there, and we might be able to get a nice little run out of that as well. So I have high hopes for them. I think this could be a year.
I agree 100%. I think the season continues to be successful when the big fella's on the court.
Right.
When they know he's going to be gone for a longer stretch of time, I think they play different. They distribute the ball differently, and scoring kind of gets spread around. I think they depend on the big fella quite a bit, which is perfectly fine. When we won a championship with Wilt Chamberlain, that's who they fed him the ball.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I think that's, there's no cat and mouse game. You know who's getting the ball.
Right.
The rest of the guys at that point, will distribute and they'll move the ball around. I love the Doc Rivers system. I think it's strong. I think you listen to him after last night's game. I mean, yeah, it would have been nice to clinch. You know what I mean? But he was pissed off.
Right.
He was pissed off. He called his players out. You know what I mean? Can he coach the Flyers? Can I get him to switch locker rooms and go over and coach the Flyers? Because that's what I'm looking for.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what you need.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need this passive coach, that, makes up all these excuses. You want results. We've been waiting a long time. And Lauren, I know you've been with them, through this whole process. And, it's gonna be a fun ride.
Yeah. Lauren, what do you think? What do you think with the talk nowadays? Everybody's worried about Doc Rivers because he's the only coach that's blown multiple 3-1 leads, is it?
Right.
So what do you think going into that? I mean, from what we've seen this year, we only had 1 year watching him coaching.
I don't really think too much into that, honestly. I think everybody's always got to find fault in something good. They can never just let something sort of ride out the way that it is. Doc Rivers single-handedly has turned this team around. So I don't really take too much with that kind of stuff. I just want to see how it plays out. That's just people sort of chomping at nothing pretty much, just trying to make a nonsense headline. And I just, I think Doc Rivers is the guy for the job. I think he's the reason why we're in the position that we're in. He's really gotten the guys to be on the same page, to play, the same ball, regardless of who's in there. So I don't worry too much about that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. You know what I mean? It's, it kind of reminds me of when the Phillies brought in Charlie Manuel, right? He was the right man for the job, and he just he handed out assignments, and the guys went and did their job.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically Charlie's beloved in this town.
Right.
You know what I mean? So hopefully we can get that same sense from Doc, whether it's this year or not. I mean, you're talking about a team you talk about a home record. I mean, they're basically unbeaten at home.
Right.
So I'm looking for more good things.
Yeah.
Health is a major issue. But it's gonna be a fun ride. What do we have? Another 3-4 games?
3 games left.
3 games left.
Yeah.
And
You got the Heat tomorrow, right?
Right, the Miami Heat in Miami.
Right.
Right.
And then I think it's two easier games after that.
Yeah.
So, they still have a shot for 50 wins.
Yep.
Which is huge.
Yeah, it is.
With a shortened season. I mean,
right.
People want to get 50
and
games.
all the load management talk and players taking nights off. It's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
But we've kicked another week of awesome Philly sports talk.
Right.
We did lose Shawnee. I'm not sure what happened, but we got to get him a roll of quarters.
Right.
So he can keep his internet.
I mean, he's getting paid for this job too.
Yeah. What happened?
And he can't pay his internet bill.
Right. Yeah. We went through all this. We went through it all, but we usually do takeaways, and my takeaway from tonight is that I've got an announcement that we've joined forces with a law firm, Aberson and Dennenberg, public attorneys from the Philadelphia area. So they're going to be on board with us for the rest of this year. Dave Dennenberg's been a good friend of ours for a long, long time, and he walked in prior to the show, and he's like, I want in, I want to buy in. What do I got to do?
Just got to get him on the show, though.
Yeah. So just real quick, he's a huge collector of Richie Ashburn. So he's promised me a show later on in the summer where he'll bring some of his Ashburn stuff and display it. We'll talk about it. So, but we're pretty excited. We got another sponsor on board to make this show even stronger yet.
When we say 2021 is going to be a better year, we weren't kidding.
Now we're excited. So, Lauren, I'll throw it over to you guys for closing comments.
My takeaway for tonight, as Anthony mentioned, this past Tuesday, they had their opening night for the Fightins, which has been a first in a long time. There hasn't been baseball in Reading since September of 2019. The guys made the playoffs that season, right? So 2019. And it was such a surreal moment to just be back there, to be back and to have baseball back. I guess you kind of become so used to a new sort of lifestyle. And then all of a sudden you're back there. I was working the store Tuesday night, and it didn't feel real at first. It felt like it was a trial run, or like somebody was going to come take it away. It was just a weird sort of experience Tuesday night. I mean, quickly everybody sort of dusted off the rust and figured it out, and it turned into a long but fun homestand. But yeah, Tuesday night, it was a very interesting experience that I didn't necessarily anticipate, but it was good to be back. And I'm excited for them to be able to increase their capacity soon, to be able to be back on the field, to do first pitches and all that good stuff again. So just an exciting thing after what was certainly an interesting first night back to finally be back there.
Very cool. Anthony?
Yeah, I don't know if I have much to say after that. That pretty much sums it up. I mean, it was nice to be back and pick up conversations with people that you haven't seen in 2 years, but you also feel like you haven't missed too much because you got to catch up really quickly. It was nice. Everything was done in a safe manner. I think even with the full capacity, we're still going to be able to do that. I mean, it's a substantial size stadium, so there's plenty of room to sort of move about, and everyone's sort of at this point, getting their vaccines and getting back to normal. So it'll be nice as the season goes on to kind of continue that. And we have a lot of extra events too that we're going to announce throughout the course of the season. So it's not just, baseball related. We have a lot of graduations coming up this week. A lot of the things that used to be inside are going to now be outside, and hopefully we can continue that going forward. So it's exciting to be back. I'm hoping that we can, in the next couple of weeks, sort of announce a more fuller promotional schedule. We're trying to work on that now, but it's tough because people always ask about it. But, until we had an idea of where the attendance would be, it's very hard to put out a proper promotional schedule. You don't want to do, X amount of giveaways when there's only X amount of people. So now that we know that we could be at a full capacity, it's sort of like almost what would normally be November trying to get things figured out, but it's May. So it's going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of fireworks and T-shirts and other events throughout the year. So I'm just excited to be back.
Excellent. Good to hear. John?
Well, I just want to wish a member of the Phillies family, David West. We found out today that he had is battling with brain cancer. So hopefully he can get back and beat it, because he was a good guy, and it's a shame.
Yeah. You hate hearing things like that.
Right. Yeah.
So
it's
prayers go out to the David West family, and
right.
Hopefully he can fight this battle. And
he gave us a lot of good memories in '93. So,
yeah,
yep,
for sure. And he was a good friend to Duchess. So
right.
But
Exactly. If I'm not mistaken, I think he was one of the, which surprised me when I was talking to the '93 guys, that he was probably one of the craziest of all.
Is that right?
Yeah, which also
no wonder him and Dutch got along.
Right, exactly.
Very cool.
Exactly.
Well, great show, guys. We lost Shawnee somewhere along the I-95 corridor.
Yep.
I'm not sure what happened to him.
Maybe he had surgery too.
Yeah. Did he get called in the OR as well?
Maybe.
I'm not sure. But hey, thanks everybody. Brian Brown, get well, buddy.
Exactly.
You've been a big supporter of the show, and we miss your comments, and feel free to tag us if you need something. We're here, guys. Yeah, great show. We'll certainly be back next Wednesday with some more announcements.
Exactly. Sounds good.
Take care, guys.
See you next
Thank
week.
you.